What's up, guys? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to give you guys a very quick update about what's happening with the markets. Just note that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $2,000, you're guaranteed 30 in total. Anyways, guys, I woke up feeling a little bit down. I was very tired this morning. I was very sleep deprived, so I'm not really turning on my camera for now. I will do it in the next video. You guys will see me very soon, but just wanted to give you guys some clarification for those who are confused. But anyways, I'm doing fine, just a little bit tired. But besides that, as far as the market is going, we are still looking bearish, but I do think that with what's going on, there could be a base coming very soon and then very nice bounce. I just don't think we're ready yet. We have to wait and see once we get that confirmation. So the market was dumping really hard. We're seeing Tesla getting dragged down as a result. As you can see, it's making lower highs and lower lows. And we're trying to hold at least around 260 for now. We're actually very close to filling this gap. So, I think we will eventually completely fill this gap all the way down to about the 250 area. Um, Now, before that happens, right, before we end up filling that gap, we'll see if we get a bounce or not near 260. But I just want to say that once we fill that gap, I will be looking for a bounce in Tesla, at least a temporary one, whether it's between 260, if not by 250, to fill that gap. But for now, we're not really ready to get a big bounce. We're still at risk of dipping lower. If you look at the daily chart on Tesla, it's relatively weak right now. And then if you zoom in and go to, for example, the 4 hour time frame, we're still downtrending technically. We're still technically on this big downtrend. There's no true sign of a bounce yet, so we're just waiting to see. And we'll be watching to see if we could hold around 262 to 260. If not, we could be looking for that gap fill, and then we'll see if we bounce after that. So just keep in mind that there is still some weakness, but I will break down more information. The market dumped really hard. What caused a small bounce was what Donald Trump just said. Donald Trump said that if companies move to the US, there are no tariffs. So, very interesting stuff. Just that tweet alone caused a lot of volume to come back into the markets, but it wasn't really enough to see the markets, still hold up. We saw a temporary move up, at least for the last couple of minutes, but like I said before, there's no proof for truly basing yet. We have to wait and see. For data, there's nothing else that's too significant. We did see the economic optimism report relatively weak at 49.8. It was supposed to be around 53. So there's lots of weakness right now and a lack of optimism. On top of this, the tariffs have been imposed, and Donald Trump will be talking about what he wants to do in the future in front of Congress today at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But keep in mind that Donald Trump is going to be giving a massive speech in front of Congress today later on. So I wonder if that's going to contribute to the market trying to get a bounce. We'll see about that. Do we bounce before? Do we see this bounce afterwards? We'll be very patient. Anyways, for the time being, okay, the market is selling off. I'm going to be watching this 262 area on Tesla. Let's see if we base here, if not around that 260 range. And if we don't hold 260, I think we fill the gap all the way down towards the 250s. So that's going to be coming next, the very low 250s. Keep that in mind. We're still a bit more bearish, but somewhere in that range between like 250 and 260, I do think Tesla is going to try to form a base, and we should be looking for an attempt to bounce after that. I do find that to be very probable, so just keep that in mind. I think there's a good chance of that, but there's no confirmation on the chart yet. That's just what my suspicion is. So before trying to enter a position or even like trade, you always want that confirmation. You want to wait just to be safe. Don't just jump in out of nowhere. You want to be very patient. Looking for others out there, we have Spy. Spy is also making lower highs and lower lows. But I want to mention that we have this blue trend line. So this is previous resistance becoming support that's now acting as a support for Spy. So watch and see if we could base around here, around this very key support, very close to this 574 area. I do want to mention that this is where I think that Spy has a very key support. We basically have our 200 EMA and this previous support near 568. So I think that 568 to 572 is where this thing might try to bottom, maybe. As long as we don't lose that, there's a good chance that that could be a very strong support, and then this thing could try to rebound very strongly. So my suspicion is, and don't solely trade based off this, but my suspicion is between 572, which is what we already touched. Between there and 568 is where this thing might try to base, and then we'll be looking to see if we get a bounce, maybe towards the end of the day, if not by tomorrow, depending on some data and Donald Trump's speech. So keep that in mind. That's what I'm eyeing for now. We're watching to see how well SPY bases, however, on an intraday basis. So we're looking for the support around 572. And then we'll see if we bounce or not. But for now, just know that there is weakness and we're waiting for confirmation. So I'm watching that 568 to 572 area to see if that's where we base. And then we'll see what it does from there. The QQQ is also looking relatively weak. I do want to mention that we formed this very, very nice wick around 487. We'll have to see if that holds us. We do have a strong support at 483 to watch. We're a very strong support there. So I suspect maybe between 483 and 487 is where the bottom is. Maybe there's a very, very good chance we do try to bounce off that range. So we haven't really, or we did test 487 so far. So we'll just have to wait and see if that range is where this thing tries to base. I want to see it reclaim 500 to bounce. The QQQ is not as down as SPY, so just keep that in mind. The Russell's also in a bit of a downtrend. We did expect this to dump to the low 200s, especially as we have this inverse head and shoulders. Sorry, head and shoulders, not an inverse head and shoulders. And then this could be dipping even lower. We'll have to see if we could base at 200, so it might dip close to 200. And then we'll see if we get some kind of bounce near that. So for now, it could dip a little bit more, so keep that in mind. ES dumped. We lost this support right here where this trend line happened to be. So in that case, we're essentially looking at the 5750 area. It's about 5700 flat range to see if this bases. And you want to see it reclaim the trend line for there to be some kind of bounce to get back up to about 5800. So just keep that in mind. For NQ, we're on a downtrend. We want to see if this could base at 20,000 or not. If that's the case, we're looking for 20,500. For Nvda, we're on a downtrend as well. We dumped pretty hard all the way back down to about 108, and now it's trying to base around 100. I want to see it reclaim 114 to balance. I don't think we're done yet. There might be another dip move, but we'll see how well it holds 110. It's doing a good job of trying to hold up right now, so it's showing some life. Bitcoin is bearish, looking for a move all the way down to about 80,000. Once again, for Tesla, we are still on a downtrend. We're going to be watching to see if we could base at 262 to 260. If not, I do expect us to fill the gap and then bounce off one of those levels. So watch that very closely. There might be a little bit more downside. Apple's kind of weak, but I just want to say what's good about it is the fact that we're holding this trend line. So this yellow trend line is where we bounced and bounced and bounced many times. We're still holding up. So for now, that's a good sign. Not bad. We'll see if we could try to base. Whoops, I think I clicked away. Sorry about that. For Apple, as long as we could hold this, we could be forming a base, try to bounce back up to about 242. This is very resilient compared to the markets. So good job by Apple. We're still holding this trend line. If we do lose 238, though, I could become a little bit more concerned if this trend line fails us. But for now, it's still holding up. For a coin, we've dipped all the way down to about the 190, I think it's the 197s or 193s, excuse me. We're trying to form a bullish divergence, though, so that's a good sign for coin. If we could manage to reclaim 200, we could be looking for a bounce for 205. For Amazon, we are forming a bullish divergence on Amazon, but there's no sign of a bounce yet, so watch this 197.5 area to 195. There's a bullish divergence, and we'll see if buyers defend there or not. Meta has a bullish divergence as well. We're watching this support around this 625 area to see if we could base around here. And you want to see us reclaim 640 to bounce, so we'll see how it goes. But for now, we're still looking a little bit weak on Meta, so it might dip a little bit more. Watch to see what happens with this divergence. Let me just double check this. I'm also noticing that Microsoft is forming a bullish divergence right here. That's a good sign, but we need to see where it bases and where it kind of like changes its trend. There's a nice support right here around 383 and also at 380, but we need confirmation, right? It's trying to form a bullish divergence, showing signs that it will bounce eventually, but there's no sign of the bounce yet. We have to wait and see. I don't think Google has a divergence. Actually, technically, it has a small one right here. So there's a small one trying to develop, but there's no sign of the bounce yet. We have to see if 168 could hold, and then we'll see how it goes from here. The VIX is elevated right now. It's still holding up, so there's no sign of rejection yet. This makes me suspect that there could be more downside coming for Tesla in the markets, but we're watching to see the key supports if we base. So watch that 262 to 260 area for Tesla. We need to hold that, otherwise we could be dipping all the way down to fill the gap, all the way down to 250. So just check the daily chart for it, and then once that's done with, I'd be looking for a bounce, a pretty substantial one. So just keep that in mind for Tesla in the markets. Anyways, that's it for my updates. Once again, guys, I'll be back and you guys will see my face very, very soon. But for those out there, I just want to say that I appreciate you guys so much for listening. Thank you for your kind comments, and I'll be back with another upload very soon. Have a good day and peace out.